Welcome back to AM Joy. On Thursday, the New York Times dropped a bombshell report with women going on the record about decades of sexual harassment accusations against mega producer Harvey Weinstein, which led to settlements in at least 8 cases. Weinstein released a statement apologizing for his behavior without acknowledging the specific allegations. And on Friday, the Weinstein Company announced that he would be taking an indefinite leave of absence and the launch of an independent investigation into the claims in the story. But the allegations, which film industry insiders have been calling the worst kept secret in Hollywood and New York, have quickly become fodder for politics, as Republicans seized on Weinstein's longtime public advocacy and donations to Democratic candidates to try and have their own aha moment against those who have criticized Donald Trump's treatment of women. Even Sean Spicer, remember him? Even he got in on the action via Twitter. And not to be outdone, Donald Trump himself weighed in yesterday.
I've known Harvey Weinstein for a long time. I'm not at all surprised to see it.
So there are a few differences, however, which might prove inconvenient to Donald Trump and the GOP's high dudgeon. For one, Democrats wasted no time dropping Weinstein, giving away his past campaign contributions to charity, particularly to charities that advocate for women. There's also the long list of women who have accused Donald Trump of groping them or making unwanted sexual advances, allegations he has denied, including threatening to sue a dozen of his accusers during the campaign, something he has yet to do. And of course, there's the fact that Republicans responded to the swarm of allegations around Donald Trump, including his own boasting about making unwanted sexual advances on women by electing him president, and never backing down from supporting him, even after they found out that he said this.
I'm automatically attracted to beautiful. I just start kissing them. It's like a magnet. You just kiss. I don't even wait. And when you're a star, they let you do it. You can do anything.
Whatever you want.
Grab them by the.
Joining me now are MSNBC contributor Gabe Sherman, Eric Bollert, senior writer for Share Blue, Christina Lopez, senior researcher for Media Matters, and MSNBC contributor Maria Teresa Kumar. I'm going to start with you on this first, Gabe. Let's start with the Weinstein of it. It's obviously, as people are saying, the worst kept secret in Hollywood and New York. But it was, I don't know, was it? Did people know about this widely?
This was something that was whispered about in media and entertainment circles. And really, you know, I see a lot of parallels to the story that I covered last year, the Roger Ailes scandal.
Sure.
Because this was, Harvey Weinstein was in many ways the Roger Ailes of the movie industry. He was a volcanic temper. He ruled through fear and intimidation, and he was able over decades to keep these sexual harassment allegations out of the public eye by coercing women allegedly to sign settlements. And the other real thing I noticed is, like Fox News, Harvey Weinstein presided over his movie company with no accountability. There was no independent HR department. There were no checks and balances. This was, for all intents and purposes, a cult of personality around Harvey Weinstein. So that is why this behavior went unchecked. And I think now, due to the courageous reporting of the New York Times, this is all coming into the light.
And you know, I'm glad that you made the Roger Ailes comparison, Eric, because here's the thing. So you had a culture at Fox News, which Gabe has been key in uncovering, that included not just Roger Ailes, but also Bill O'Reilly, other people at Fox News we've heard allegations about. And so you've now got this assumption on the part of Republicans that not only did Hollywood and New York know about Weinstein, but somehow every single Democrat to whom he wrote a check knew about it too. Do you have any reporting or information that Democrats, that political people had any idea about Harvey Weinstein?
No, we haven't seen anything like that. I think Democrats have done the right thing, right? They've denounced him across the board. They've sent the money back. They've sent it to charities. They've done everything Republicans should have done last year, whether it was Roger Ailes, whether it was Bill O'Reilly, whether it was Donald Trump, nominee for President of the United States. These people didn't return a dime. They didn't disinvite Trump from anything. Nobody said, hey, you shouldn't be our nominee. Look, what Weinstein did was completely wrong. Everyone agrees. So how are we trying?
Defending him? Is there anyone defending him?
There's kind of this straw man narrative that I think, frankly, a lot of people in the political press are trying to push, that this is kind of the both sides, right? The DC press loves the both sides approach, and they're trying to make this stick. But there's no the facts don't support it.
And that is, I think, one of the important points, Christina, is there is this sort of tick in media to do a both sides narrative and to presume that both sides behave the same way and to presume that somehow Democrats have to answer for Harvey Weinstein when literally no one is defending him, when literally on the other side, they're all defending for and covering for Donald Trump. Despite this, let's just go through some of the women who have accused Donald Trump. You've had, in the early 1980s, Jessica Leeds, a businesswoman. In the early 90s, Kristen Anderson, a former model. Jill Harth, makeup artist. artists, Miss Teen USA contestants who he supposedly walked in on some of them naked and admitted it on the Howard Stern show. 1997, Temple Taggart, the former Miss Utah, Karina Virginia, yoga instructor in 1998. It just goes on and on and on. Mindy McGill-Ray, Rachel Crooks, Natasha Stoyanov, Nini Laxonen, Summer Zervos, Cassandra Searles. He's been accused, Donald Trump, by all of these women. This was before he was elected. No one is asking that every single Republican who's been defending Donald Trump go through an answer for that.
And that's the thing, Joy. It's really interesting to see that a lot of the media that are right now claiming that people are defending Harvey Weinstein, when it would be hard to find anyone defending this, are the same people who are right now propping Bill O'Reilly up, allowing him to do a comeback tour, and basically helping him rehabilitate his image. And at the same time, these are the people that never said the names of these women, that never gave them a platform to speak, and who are the first to say that, you know, basically put doubts on women that dare come forward when to say that Donald Trump actually sexual harassed them, or basically made a hostile environment for them to work in.
And you know, Maria Teresa, you even had Donald Trump Jr. You know, irony is dead. You know, it keeps right. The poor thing. You know, we need to hold a funeral for irony because it is dead. Donald Trump Jr. came out and liked a tweet attacking Ashley Judd, who had the guts to come forward and talk about what Harvey Weinstein did to her. He liked a tweet saying, "Now we know why Ashley Judd is a nasty woman." She immediately trashed POTUS for the way he talked, but waited 20 years to tell us what Harvey Weinstein did. And this may be as a result of a settlement. Meanwhile, this is what Donald Trump Jr. had to say about sexual harassment back in 2013 and on an episode of the Opie and Anthony show. And this was BuzzFeed found this in October of last year. I'm of that mindset, says Donald Trump Jr. And I'll get into trouble. I'm sure I'll get myself into trouble one of these days. If you can't handle some of the basic stuff that's become a problem in the workplace today, then you don't belong in the workforce. Like you should maybe go teach kindergarten. I think it's a respectable position. He also tweeted, this is cut 6, back in May of 2011, he retweeted a tweet that said, "Lesson on the right, if you look like Mark McGrath, you too can sexually harass the hell out of anyone. HR rules don't apply." So this isn't a guy who's actually been sensitive about sexual harassment.
Well, no, if anything, it demonstrates that the fruit doesn't fall far from the tree, right, Joy? I mean, he is basically following in his father's footsteps. And that is what is so dangerous about these people who are incredibly powerful, sending out signals that sexually harassing a woman or a man on the workforce is acceptable. And instead of moving our country forward and talking about the importance of gender safety in the workforce, they're actually bringing people back. And I think that the fact that the Democrats swiftly denounced Harvey Weinstein, his board swiftly denounced him, basically asking him to resign, and people from the board themselves resigned. It's not advocating for what he did, but it was taking steps to recognize that there was a serious infection inside that organization, and it started with Harvey Weinstein. We did not see any of that denouncement when it came to the Trump's properties, let alone his supporters.
Yeah, indeed, there are still people who are, you know, saying that, you know, the producer of The Apprentice are still covering for Donald Trump. There may be more, that there may be more information that's not coming out. Mark Burnett is holding on to whatever it is he knows. There hasn't been a wholesale movement against people like Donald Trump and their behavior at all. Have you seen it?
No, and I think, you know, to the other degree, also Harvey Weinstein as well. You know, we should not forget that the company did not ask him to take a leave of absence until the New York Times reported this and made this public. They knew, according to the Times, that they had an internal memo of a woman raising red flags of allegations. So as much as, you know, this example of Harvey Weinstein being pushed aside could be seen as a sign of progress, I look at it possibly the other way. It's frustrating that here we are in 2017 and it takes a newspaper report to force an alleged sexual predator out of the workplace. This should have no place on the left and the right. It should just be not tolerated.
No, absolutely. And that is the point, too, is that you have these major companies, whether it's Fox News or whether it's the Weinstein Company, where someone can operate at these high levels and committing these levels of abuse, and people look the other way until it becomes public.
You know, I don't know if it's something specific with the media world, with Roger Ailes and Bill O'Reilly and now Weinstein.
And Trump.
Yeah, individual people are able to amass so much power and are able to dole out or give access to so much power. I don't know if it's a specific problem with the media entertainment world, but it's obviously disgusting. But, you know, I would say I'm troubled by, again, this fact that a lot of reporters want to make this a political story.
Right.
It's a story about powerful men mistreating women. Absolutely. And it's a story that this country has been not dealing with for a very long time.
Yeah, absolutely. And Maria Teresa, you know, on that point, Harvey Weinstein was a donor to Democrats. He's not by far not the mega donor. I've never heard of him as a political donor. You've worked in the political world. Has he been somebody who has been that important? Because isn't this more a story about powerful men abusing women?
It absolutely is about powerful men abusing women. And let's not forget, it's not just in the media. Recently, we've been getting trickles and stories coming out of Silicon Valley where women are facing the exact same thing. This is an epidemic of men amassing power and actually trying to demonstrate where their power lies by giving women access, whether they basically are influential with sexual favors or not. That is the problem. And how do we start educating the workplace of what is condoned and is not? And, But I do have to say, the fact that the media came out and exposed Harvey Weinstein for what he was, and how quickly the company responded. Yes, it took a media story, but how quickly it responded is also testament that they realize that there is little tolerance among the public once this is actually disclosed.
And I'll give you the last word on this, Christina, because the other question is, you know, we did see with some of the accusers of Donald Trump that had media careers before they spoke out, then didn't, and didn't show up on TV. We try to book some on this show because we don't feel people should disappear because they came forward. Is there a risk for some of these women now that they become tainted in terms of their media careers because they stepped forward and spoke out against Harvey Weinstein?
Well, there's absolutely a risk, and it does take a lot of bravery. And there's something to be said, too, about the lack of representation of women in positions of power, because it does reinforce and create an environment where, you know, there's a wild imbalance of power that makes women think that they cannot come forward without hurting their careers.
Yeah, absolutely. It takes years in a lot of these cases for women to come forward and great reporters like Gabe to come out and bring these things out, and obviously that New York Times report. Thank you very much. Gabe Sherman, Eric Boehlert, Christina Lopez. Thank you all. Maria Teresa will be back later in the hour. And up next, the bombshell report on Breitbart's connection to white supremacists and neo-Nazis. Stay with us.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.